On May 1st and 2nd of 2010, a significant flooding event took place in Tennessee. The heavy rainfall event was the result of an influx of moist air with an abnormally high precipitable water content that was advected north into the southern United States from the intertropical convergence zone. The atmospheric river interacted with the stationary boundary draped over Tennessee, which provided the lift necessary for heavy rainfall lasting 2 full days. The atmospheric river was advected north when a strong ridge set up off the east coast of the United States and protruded north all the way into Canada. At this time, an upper-level low became mostly stationary in the northern plains with a secondary trough to its south on the morning of May 1st. These troughs became blocked by the ridge downstream, creating a favorable synoptic environment for thunderstorms along the stationary boundary that lasted multiple days. As the high amount of precipitable water interacted with the stationary boundary, thunderstorms initiated and traveled over roughly the same location for hours on end. There was a break in the precipitation overnight on the 1st of May as the boundary retreated, but heavy rain moved back into the area the next day and was aided by a stalled outflow boundary from the convection that took place on May 1st. Cell motion parallel to the slow-moving boundary allowed for storms with high rainfall rates to move along each other's paths, causing hours of continuous heavy rainfall in Tennessee. This resulted in record-breaking rainfall totals throughout much of central Tennessee and Kentucky. Nashville recorded their 6, 12, 24, and 48-hour rainfall records during the event when 13.57 inches of rain fell during the 48-hour period. This was over double the previous record of 6.68 inches, which was set in September of 1979. They also broke the record for the wettest May on record, even though the event took place on the first 2 days of the month. The highest rainfall totals in Tennessee were recorded roughly 100 miles west in Camden, Tennessee, where nearly 20 inches of rain fell. As a result of such significant rainfall totals, destructive flooding took place. This event was characterized as a 1,000-year flood, which has a 0.1% chance of occurring according to the National Weather Service. The Cumberland River in Nashville rose to a height of almost 52 feet as a result of the heavy rain, reaching roughly 12 feet above flood stage, leading to destructive flooding in the Nashville metro. Upstream in Clarksville, Tennessee, the river rose to 62.58 feet, beating the previous record by just over 5 feet. A record-breaking event like this is very difficult to forecast due to the fact that it is so rare. For this reason, many people were caught off guard by the amount of rain that ended up falling. Throughout Tennessee and Kentucky, there were 26 deaths associated with the flood, 11 of which took place in the Nashville area. Extensive damage occurred throughout Tennessee and Kentucky with at least $2 billion in property damage estimated in Nashville alone. This was the result of 11,000 properties being damaged or destroyed. There was also an estimate of $120 million worth of damage done to Nashville's public infrastructure. Overall, 10,000 Nashville residents were displaced by the flood. Businesses were forced to shut down permanently, and well-known locations like the Opry Mills Mall were forced to shut down for up to 2 years following the event. The mall required $200 million in repairs before it was able to reopen. The entire first floor of the Grand Ole Opry House even had to be rebuilt. The flood led to the installation of several new rainfall and river gauges in Davidson County. It also led to the National Weather Service and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to come up with a new communication strategy that aimed to make it easier for them to coordinate water releases from dams in the area. This strategy includes sending a meteorologist to Nashville's Emergency Operations Center when a bad weather event is expected. This flooding event was particularly tragic, and there are hundreds of videos and pictures on the internet that show scenes of horrible flooding with houses halfway submerged by water, cars with only their roof visible above the water, debris flowing through the flood, and downtown Nashville turned into a lake. Considering this event was a 1,000-year flood, it is unlikely that another event of this proportion will impact the United States in our lifetime. That just puts into perspective how extreme the rainfall really was. This kind of event takes a special set of meteorological circumstances, but it shows just how impactful the hydrological cycle can be.